it was a Saturday, like many other. Not too far away from Christmas, in fact 190 years ago this weekend. The quiet of Anna Valley was shattered when the ironworks was attacked by a crazy mob of men. This was a year in the making. The Peninsular War in Europe caused a huge spike in inflation. Food prices soared, and it was the poorest in society that were to suffer. Now, farming had become extremely profitable, so the landowners and the farmers were definitely benefiting. The labourers, however, saw very little of this profit, with their wages staying the same. As the costs of bread skyrocketed compared to their earnings, it meant that the people were struggling to sustain themselves, and along with the loss of common land and the Enclosure Act of 1773 meant tougher and tougher times. In 1815, the wars in France were over, the demand for food dropped, and so did their prices. Now, you would think that this may benefit the poorer folk, but it didn't. It may have meant the bread was cheaper, but the poor allowances also dropped. At the same time, lots of men were coming back after fighting, and they were looking for jobs, non-existent jobs. Unfortunately, modern times were coming and machines were being created to do the work of humans. And as you can imagine, these machines that were taking the humans' jobs, quite high up on the target list for destruction from attacks across the country. Now, the revolts began in Kent and Sussex, and they soon travelled to Hampshire and Wiltshire. Now, labourers were becoming bolder. They were demanding money and destroying property, which unfortunately lost the sympathy of a majority of their fellows in their villages and towns and cities. Finally, the authorities decided something had to be done. So, we're back to the 20th of November 1830, and it was 11 AM in the morning, and a massive crowd of 300 men amassed in Andover. Now, they all carried pitchforks with the mouldy crusts of bread on the end, apparently, to show their discontent in their situation. The mob converged on what is now the Angel Inn at the top of the High Street, and this is where the magistrates read the Riot Act out of the windows. The mob first contemplated attacking a print works, but they were paid off by the business owners with beer money. Now, Magistrate Edward Blunt later said in evidence at the trial that they had been told of the rioters' intention to wreck Tasker's works. Luckily, Tasker's foreman was also aware, and taking it seriously, had already closed the foundry for the day. Now it was 3 PM, a few hours later, and the mob decided to head out towards Upper Clapford, heading up the Winchester Road, as it is recorded that on the way they damaged and destroyed several bridges, one of which was the bridge over the River Anton near All Saints Church. This was replaced by the present bridge that was cast at the Tasker's iron foundry in 1843. Note the similarity in design and the roundels to the later bridge carrying the Ladies' Walk over the Mitcheldever Road. This bridge was constructed by Taskers and Fowle and is dated 1851. One account said that Robert Tasker himself stood at the gates of the foundry and tried to pay the mob to leave, but later on in trial he turned around and said that although he saw the men arrive, he was too far away and could not possibly identify any of them. The rioters destroyed everything they could. Accounts detail every window was smashed, the roof torn off, and the water wheel was also wrecked. The rampage went on late into the night on Saturday until the mob finally dispersed. Now, obviously, the next day being Sunday, even rioters have a day of rest. So nothing was done that day. On the Monday, however, some of the ringleaders were supposedly back to carry on their destruction. Unfortunately, they were met by a group of lancers who arrested them, and then they were sent to trial at Winchester. 16 men were arrested and tried. 12 were found guilty and 4 were found not guilty. Not sure how those 4 wriggled out of it. For most of them, the sentence was transportation for life. 2 of them, however, were sentenced to hanging, and all the rest of them were ordered to watch them die. This, as you can imagine, did kind of end the rioting in Hampshire, and it seems all across the country as well. And what became of Taskers? The ironworks did recover, rebuild and repaired the damage to their business, and continued to grow and prosper, even creating a small community in the village with a new chapel and a school being built. Taskers acquired more land in both Anna Valley and owned houses in Upper Clapford as far as the bridge over the Anton, where it met the canal, and built a wharf to provide easy transport of raw materials. Then when the railways came, the wharf later became a private railway siding. Ooh, don't forget, the local railway can be seen on our other videos by Paul and Rebecca Whitwick. Hop over and have a look if you want. Thanks very much for watching my little video. Hope you enjoyed it, and do like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Lots of people seem to watch it but not subscribe, and vice versa, so if you could do everything, that'd be great. Thanks very much.